There are 9,223 presets that come with Omnisphere. Now, if you took, say, 10 seconds to audition all of them, that's going to take you 92,230 seconds to do that, which is 1537 minutes or about 25 hours.
Whoa.
So if you worked 8-hour days, it would take you 3 days to go through all of them. But many of you don't just own Omnisphere. You own some other stuff. The truth is that most of us don't even know what we own. We don't have time to do all that checking, and we keep buying stuff without knowing whether we already own something that might be better than the thing that we're buying. Well, that's a problem. But luckily, I, Tiger the Frog, have a solution to that problem. Ooh. Would you like to hear my solution? Ah. Well, alrighty then. My advice is very simple. Stop thinking about virtual instruments and synths. Think about sounds instead. And then take similar sounds and put them into templates. Like, for example, a pluck sound. If you look at all the patches in Omnisphere, it's extremely overwhelming. But if you focus just on pluck sounds, then it's a very different thing. All of a sudden, it's pretty manageable. You can search out the best pluck sounds in Omnisphere. All kinds of synths have pluck sounds. Same thing happens with acoustic instruments. You've got harps and guitars and so on. And in the world instruments, you've got kotos and you've got ouds. And if you're thinking about a cello, as a cello, it has all the sounds that a cello can make. But if you're just assembling a template of pluck sounds, then all you care about are the pizzicato sounds. It becomes a pluck, which you then can layer with all the other pluck sounds that you've got from different electronic and acoustic sounds. Most people, when they're going to use a piano in one of their pieces, they reach first for their favorite one. And that might be something that's sampled from a Steinway or a Yamaha or something that they like the sound of. But in reality, what we're looking for when we make music is something that's good for a classical or jazz or rock, or it could be a soft piano or a felt piano, a tack piano, a toy piano, all kinds of things. And the reality is when you look at a particular thing like keyscape, it has all these things. And if you separate your stuff into a piano that is a soft piano, you can find all these things that you own that will go together, and you might not remember that all of them had one preset that worked perfectly with this kind of style of piano. And you might have a piano that has some really, really weird name, and it might seem like it only fits for a niche use, but it might have some sounds in it that will work beautifully with your template. The biggest opportunity that gets opened up when you lay similar sounds into a template is layering. Usually when I put down a set of chords, let's say for a pad sound, I drag that MIDI through various pad sounds in my template, and I listen for the ones I find work best with the song. what often happens is that I'll say, well, I think I'm going to use 2 of those or even 3 of those. And it comes for something really interesting that I've created, but it doesn't involve much work and it doesn't involve much time. When I start a template, I usually begin by going to all the obvious places, the places I would go to anyway when I would be searching for a certain kind of sound. Like, for example, if I'm making a tine piano template, I would go to FM synths and FM tone modules and so on. But after a while, I would be in other synths that I own or other instruments I own, and I would hear something, oh, that's a really good tine piano sound. And so then I would take that one preset and I would add it to the template. I make all kinds of unexpected discoveries when I'm working on these templates. For example, I want to make a song in the style of the Byrds. It's on my list of things I'm going to do someday. And I was working on a pluck template, and I looked through all the instruments I have from a company called AAS. And I have over 9,000 sounds in my expansions from that company. And I was playing with one of them, and I was thinking, wow, that kind of sounds like a 12-string. That might be something I could layer into my Byrds arrangement. And I looked at the name of the patch, and it was Bird Watcher. Now, I never would have found this thing or have thought to look for this thing within the 9,000 plus patches I have from that company. But the process of creating this template helped me find it, and it'll be something I'll really enjoy using. Every track on all my templates is disabled, and that makes the templates load really, really quickly. And once I've loaded them, I can enable just the tracks I want to use. Now, I have a feature within my DAW, Cubase, which allows me to load up just the tracks I want from my templates into my current project. If you don't have something like that in your DAW, you might want to look into something called Vienna Ensemble Pro. I recently downloaded a free piano, and the first time I loaded it, it was inside a template I had already made for similar pianos. Now, if I didn't have a piano template, I would have made it the very first soft piano in a new template. I like to start my templates on something I need right now. So if I'm looking for a distorted guitar patch for a current project, I don't do it in that project. I start a template for distorted guitars, and that way, that work that I've done will help me out the next time I'm looking for something similar. If you keep making templates, it's not hard for them to get really, really big. So if your computer and your bank account can handle it, certainly max out your memory. But if that's not possible, what you can do is divide up your templates into different categories. Like, for example, you could have plucks that are synth and plucks that are acoustic. You don't have to create a template in one day. In fact, that's impossible. They're always going to be a work in progress. But, if you can find a half hour here and there to work on them, particularly on the sounds that you use a lot, I feel it will pay off. Thinking about your synthesizers and virtual instruments as pure sounds and organizing them into templates is a way to take all this stuff that you've spent money on and never really used to its fullest potential, and to get something out of it that you can really harness for your music, and a lot more too. It's not the only thing that you can do. There's some stuff I want to make videos about in the future. But I hope that this video has given you some ideas and is useful. So thanks for listening. And until next time, this is Tiger the Frog telling you that when you buy music software, buy responsibly.